Welcome back to Simbright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. So in today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful collar you are seeing right there on the thumbnail. So this is the collar. I'll be showing you how to go about it. You can see how beautiful this collar is looking and relaxing, nice and flat. So I will show you how to draft and how to cut to have this collar you are seeing right here. Okay, so this collar can be used for anything. You can use it for kaftans, you can use it for bubu, you can use it for shift gowns, as you wish. Okay, so you can see how beautifully made this collar is made on the thumbnail. So if this is what you want to learn today, please stay tuned till the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Interesting tutorial. So today's tutorial will be making this gown. You can see with the collar. So I will be showing you how to go about the sewing of this collar. So the first you need is your bodice gown. Well, here I have my bodice half scale. This is the front and this is the shoulder. So for my body's half scale, I only have my chest and my waist. So the most important thing is this in this tutorial is the collar or the neckline. So this is the front I'm working with right now. This is the back I'm working with. This is the shoulder for the back, and the waistline is the same because there's no dart and you are making a gown. So all you need to do is to go ahead and extend your gown from the waist down, then add the necessary ease. So our concentration is on the neckline, like I earlier said before. So we are going to have little alterations made to this neckline. This is my natural neckline, which is calculated with your bust divided by 12. So once I've gotten my natural neckline, next I'll come out by 0.75. So from here to here is 0.75. I'll come up from the chest line by 1 inch. Then I'm going to connect these two neckline for the front. Okay, so that is the connection for the front. So you can also take the measurement of where you want this dress to be from the nape of your neck to wherever you have. From the nape of your neck, what I mean is from here you can take your measurement on your body. Okay, so if I take where I want mine to be, the 4.5 is actually deep at that point, but it's okay because it has a collar. By the time we sew in the collar, it covers up that area. So but if you want to go up, I'm also thinking of going up a little bit, but it's okay. Let's leave it at 1 inch from the chest line. So coming over to the back, I'll come in by the same 0.75 from here, 0.75, and that 0.75 is just to extend the width of the back to match up with what we have with the front. So once that is done, I'll connect. So that is all we need for this dress, and I'm going to cut out this pattern, then cut on fabric. So everything is going to be on fold, both for back and for front. So like I said, we are concentrating on the neckline, so I didn't really do anything serious here on the bodies. So I just marked the bust and the waist. So I'll just cut now. I'll cut the back. So the area we need is the neckline. Okay. So I'll now go into the new neckline, which I alterated right now, and then cut. That is the back. So I'll now come in with my fabric. I'm going to cut my fabric for this unfold. But before we do that, please, we want to take the measurement of our neckline, because that is what we are going to use to cut out this collar. So from here to here is 8.5. Please take note of it. This 8.5 is for right and left, because we have this unfold when we'll be cutting our collar. This will be times 2. Then from the center here we have 4 inches. This will be times 2 as well. So I will use the calculation I have here and here for the collar. So when we will stitch this together, the shoulder seams will come together this way, and then it will run this way to the center, multiplied by 2. Okay, for the other side. So let me cut this right now and we'll continue with the tutorial. Right, people, so right now I've gone ahead to cut out my pattern, and I've added my necessary seam allowances. 1 inch for the side, unfold 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. I did the same for the back as well. So now I'm free to take off my pattern, and I'm going to join the shoulder seam lines. So my shoulder seam lines, I'm going to join them right away. So this is my gown, or whatever you are making with it. This is the neckline, and this is the back. So I'll just go now and join them. Okay, I'm joining them on the seams right away. So I want to talk about what we are going to use for the collar. You can see the piece of fabric I just cut out. So remember, our calculation was 8.5 times 2 and 8 times 2, 4 times 2. So 4 times 2 will give us 8. 8.5 times 2 will give us 17. So when you add them, 17 plus 8 together, you will have 25. So my fabric here measures 27 inches. It's actually 25, but you need some allowance for sewing. Okay, then the width I'm using here of my collar is 7 inches. So this 7 inches, I'm going to fold it by 2. So if I fold it by 2, I'll be having 3.5. So by the time I sew half, I'll have my collar at 3 inches. Okay, so this is how we are going to sew it in. But before you sew it in, please ensure you have stayed. You can use your collar stay, because it's a collar and it needs to stand for us. But for this tutorial, I'm not staying anything. I just cut out a strong or hard fabric to work with. So let me quickly join this. We are joining this right now. Then once we are done joining it, next we will do is to sew in the collar. So I'll be showing you how to sew the collar into this neckline right away. So right now I've joined my shoulder lines, as you can see. So I have the dress complete right away. So you can see it there, the back and the front neckline. So I'll bring in the collar and I'm going to fold it by 2. So after you are done staying it and ironing it, it should be like this. So I'll now come in to sew. So I'll just get the midpoint. Okay, when I put the 2 ends together, I'll be able to get my midpoint. So this is my midpoint. So I folded it and this is my midpoint. So I'll just make either secure that midpoint with my pin. Let me just do, you can also place your notch there, but let me just secure with my pin. Then I'll also get the midpoint of the back neckline. Okay, this is the midpoint. I'll just make a notch. So I'll now sew from one end to the other. So I'm pinning midpoint to midpoint and I'm sewing from one end to the other from that midpoint. So I'm sewing right side to right side. This is a collar we are attaching and I'm sewing at 0.5. So I'll now check if I have it, my presser foot at 0.5. Yes, I do. So I'll just match up. So I'll keep sewing till I get to the center front. Okay, so once I get to that center front where I have the center front, I'll just stop and back stitch at that point. Okay, so then I will turn over to this part because I'm sewing from this center back. So I'll take off my pin. I'm sewing from the center back to the center front. So it's best to sew from center back to center front so you'll be able to get that part well. Okay, so I actually have more to this part, so please make sure you centralize the collar. Okay, so you have it equal. So you can see, I can see the stitches of my, I'll raise this part up and I'm going to sew to meet the stitches I have already for the other parts. I believe you understand what I'm talking about. So this is the stitches coming from this way. I'll just go and meet it gently and back stitch on that point. Can you see? So I've met that stitches. Can you see? So I'll cut it off at that point. So this is the collar, and once you take it off this way, once you take it off, you have your collar coming this way. So the next thing we want to do now is to finish up. So first of all, I'm going to make sure that this is equal. Okay, you can see what I did. From this point of the center front where I have the stitches, I'll drop my presser foot and make sure it is equal at this point. So here I can see it's slightly equal, and I'm going to sew like a V to it. So from this point, I'm going to sew, make a V or a slanted line to it. So I'll back stitch again and I'll make a V. Just make sure you make a V. Don't sew straight. This part has to be higher than what you have here. From here to here, assuming we have from here as 1.5, from here should be about 2.5. Okay, so I will check my collar before I trim out, so you can see. All right, so I'm done sewing the neckline to the center front, so you can see what I have right there on the center front of my neckline. Okay, so let me just trim off a little. So you can actually, instead of cutting adding 2 inches, you can add 4 inches later, provided you match it up from the center back. Later you can put them together and reduce the seam, okay, instead of you to have a shortage on the neckline. So now from this point, I'm going to measure and mark 4 inches. From that your neckline, measure 4 inches. Okay, and from here measure another 4 inches and mark. So these 4 inches now I just marked here. I'm going to, you can still use your ruler to connect first. So let me just get my ruler. So this connection is going to be connected to that center front, okay, because that's where we are going to trim off before we sew. Can you see that? Then from here I'll also connect from here to the center front. So I'll follow this line now and cut. So I'll go ahead and do what? So I've cut that part, and from this center line I cut this part too. Okay, so this is how the center front is looking right now. So I'll just go ahead. Please be careful you don't cut. You need a seam allowance. I'm sorry about this. I encroached into the seam allowance, but don't do that when you are doing yours. Okay, so make sure you cut from seam allowance. So you can see how I'm putting that part together this way. And I'm going to sew from that point now to this point. Can you see? So make sure it matches up together, please. So that means your sewing has to be accurate at all times. So I'll just back stitch and sew that part, okay, and back stitch once again. So by the time I turn my collar, you can see what we have now. So this part, please, you have to be careful so you don't have it squeezing the way. I picked a little of my fabric, but when you are doing yours, please don't pick any fabric. So this is the collar now, as you can see. Can you see that? So that is what you have on the thumbnail right there. So this becomes the collar. So another thing you can do is to you can reduce the width. What I have here is 3 inches as width. You can do 2.5. So if you are doing 2.5, it means you are cutting 7. So by the time you sew, you have this. So I can now go ahead and open up these seams, give it a good press, you know. But please ensure your collar is ironed before this exercise. Then you can go ahead and do what? And serge the inside of this part. Alright, so this is what we have for the collar, as you can see. So I've given it a good press anyway. I opened up the seams, as you can see, and give it a good press. So another thing I want you to note is this. If you look at where the neckline is, you can see it's actually small. Might not be able to pass the head. So I advise, instead of making this collar at this 3 inches, you can decrease it to 2.5. So if you make 2.5, then after sewing you have 2.5 and you have more space. So that means at this point, that is where the neck is going to be reduced. And if you are using 2.5 as width, then you need to also connect, instead of connecting this to 1 inch, the wider you make it, we took 0.5, so you can do 1.25, okay, from the natural neckline, and then connect to the chest line. So that will give this collar more space. You understand? It will give it more space to pass the head. I believe this explanation is understandable. So by the time you are making yours, you can do from the natural neckline 1.2, that is 1.25. Then you connect to the chest line. Instead of going up 1 inch, then you can make your collar 2.5 inches. It's still okay. If you still want to make 3 inches, it's okay. But if you are increasing your collar, you need to do what? Increase what you have on the width and on the depth, so you'll be able to pass your neck. So I believe this is understandable. So this is how we come to the end of this tutorial. Thank you for coming once again, and see you in the next class. Bye.